Oh, hey, it's Dad here, living down to expectations, a member of the 47%. The wind is blowing out here, so if there's a little bit of roar here and there, you know, don't get all bent out of shape about it, because the wind. You know, there was a few months ago, I decided, I guess pretty close to a year ago, I decided that I was just going to crawl in a hole and hide, because shit, in the scheme of things, nothing mattered. You know what I mean? I mean, pissing in the wind is not good for your shoes. But then there was this thing with this guy running for president named Romney, and he comes out and said something about these folks called the 47%. They're freeloaders. They ain't worth nothing, and you know, he ain't got any time for us. So I'll be honest with you, man. I am not a big fan of our current president. But at least he don't say shit like that. You know what I mean? I mean, we do matter. I matter. Look, I don't have a problem with paying taxes. Paid taxes all my life, off and on. Before we had kids, my wife and I worked 2 jobs. Had a good income. Paid a lot of tax. But then we got kids. And then I stayed home to take care of them. First they were foster kids, and then they were adopted kids. And for like, what, 9 years almost, I've been home taking care of the kids. So I don't work. And I don't pay in Social Security or anything else, because I don't have an income. My wife works, and I'm really glad she does. We have a good income. She has a good income, but I don't have any income except for some, you know, freelance writing every once in a while. And I may never get that after I do these blogs. But anyway, so, you know, I don't have a problem with paying taxes. But, you know, this bullshit idea about what it's like to live on welfare and to get food stamps, I can tell you about that too, see, because I've been on both sides of that welfare desk. I sat on the outside of the desk, you know, the outside. I was broke a couple times when we were younger. I had my arm operated on once, right there. They did a crappy job, the VA, and I lost my job, see. And we had no income, and we had nothing, and we were evicted, and we got money. I mean, we got food stamps, and we got food from the Salvation Army. And so I know what it's like to be down on that end of the stick. Been there, done that. And then, in 1996, I went to work for the Texas Department of Human Services as a caseworker. And 3.5 glorious years, I sat on the other side of the desk, and I heard all the stories you can imagine. But I can guarantee you one thing. There wasn't 10%, not 10% of the people that came in my office that did not deserve what they got. I had a few that were fraudulent, and I nailed their butt to the wall. But the rest of them, they deserved it. And some of them needed a hell of a lot more than I could give them, and that was pretty frustrating, especially senior citizens. So I've seen both sides, and I think Mr. Romney is full of shit. You see, conceited people like Romney, they look down their nose at people like us, and they say stupid things about, you know, people that live in mobile homes, and sit on the front porch, and don't do nothing, and talk funny, and look funny, and we'd be real out of place at that, you know, that gathering that he was at where he said that. I mean, 50 grand, that's a little bit over my budget, even if I did like the guy. So, you know, look down your nose, Mr. Romney. I'm down here at the end of it. Now, let me tell you something else. While I'm on the subject of 47%, there's a lot of different things that people don't know, and one of them is what it's really like in the foster care system, and what it's like dealing with abused kids. See, that's where our kids came from. We adopted a couple. We kept up to 10. I had a little baby once. Kid, 3 months, man. They took it, ripped my guts out. But that kid was a crack baby, by the way. And way down here on the other end of the stick, 47%, that's people that don't have anything and that can't have anything and were raised in nothing and they don't know anything. And they were abused and they grow up, if they don't get rescued, like our kids did. If they don't get rescued, they're screwed. They grow up with attitudes. They grow up to be criminals. They grow up to work at McDonald's. They're always going to be the 47% because people just don't give a shit. I can tell you right now, people don't give a shit. I work my ass off to try to do some stuff for these kids, and people do not give a shit. And along those same lines, it's women who have kids, and that son of a bitch, they got them pregnant, split. I'm telling you, I had a lot of cases like that. A lot of clients who they couldn't do a damn thing because there's no child care. Nobody pays for child care. And even if you got child care in Texas, you can only have child care, you know, like from 7:30 in the morning till 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's it. There is no place you can take a kid after that. It's the fucking law in Texas. They cannot be child care, you know, daycare centers can't be open. So even if they had the money and they get a job at McDonald's or Walmart, they don't work, you know, days. They work weekends, work nights. What are they going to do with their kids? So a lot of them, they didn't work because there was nowhere to put their kids. And if they do go to work and they leave their kid with Uncle Charlie, and Uncle Charlie's, you know, some fruity kind of guy, and then Uncle Charlie does something he ain't supposed to, then the kids are gone anyway. CPS comes in and picks them up. So, you know, this thing about the 47% freeloaders, you're full of shit. What else did I want to talk about on this thing? Oh, yeah. Entitlement. 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 Entitlement my ass. That's what I wrote on my blog. I said, entitlement my ass. People who are on entitlements, who have food stamps, who are drawing, you know, TANF. You know how much that stuff is? I mean, like a few $100 a month. I'd like to see Mr. Romney get by on shit like that. And, you know, a few $100 food stamps and HUD housing. What? To add all that stuff up, maybe $1,000 a month or less. That's what they're living on. And you're going to bitch about that? And you're not going to do anything about it? Give me a break. I don't know. It kind of pisses me off when people talk about the 47% because, you know, I may look like a redneck, but I ain't one. And I know how the rich motherfuckers have the country by the balls. I've watched for decades. You know, I can't believe I used to be a conservative guy. I did, man, back in the 80s. But now, when I sit behind that desk and learn what life was like out there, you know, with the real poor people, the elderly people that would spend an hour and a half, 2 hours a day in the office to get $10. $10 to get. They came in there to get $10. They could buy a loaf of bread, and they went through all that shit for $10. You want to know what it's like out there? It's hell out there. And I've been there. I'm not there. I'm happy. Right now, we're doing good. We're not going hungry. We're not rich. We don't have nice cars. My van sitting over there, you know, it could use some work on it. My wife's car's got to go to the shop. You know, we're not rich, but we're not starving. But there are a lot of people that's a hell of a lot worse off than we are. And we're one of the 47% because we have a couple of kids and because our income is less than $40,000 a year. And so we qualify for tax credit. And it's a good thing because, you know, there's a lot of things we need that we can't do if we don't get that tax credit. You know, it built my porch last year. And year before last, I bought my van. Or 2 or 3 years ago, I forget. Anyway, so we're 47% and we're freeloaders. But, you know, we haven't always been freeloaders. We paid in taxes. And I've busted my ass for people like foster kids. And, I mean, you name it, I've always been a crusader. And that's how I wound up sitting on this porch. But I'm a member of the 47%, Mr. Romney. And I'm a proud member because I've done my bit. And I have a good family. And I have a wife and kids who love me. And we're happy here. And I'm screwed when it comes to medical care. I have to go to the VA. And, man, VA medical care sucks. And I can't do much because I'm really pretty screwed up. And my wife don't want to go to the doctor when she has to because she has to pay all those, you know, co-pays and shit. And, man, it would cost $500 a month to get on her insurance. So, you know, we're not hurting. We're not starving. But, you know, we're not, you know, flying off to Hawaii either. And we have a good income. So I'll tell you what, it gets me worked up sometimes and it kind of pisses me off, but what can I say? You know, I say you know a lot, don't I? Life ain't bad here. Could be a hell of a lot worse, and it is a hell of a lot worse for some people. And it pisses me off when people like Mr. Romney talks down his fucking nose at someone like me just because I have long hair and I live in a mobile home and I talk like a hick. And just because I happen to be in a non-tax bracket because of our income at the moment. And, I mean, you know, I just, shit. Like I said on my Facebook the other day, you know what? Fuck you. We do okay. And we don't deserve that shit. Bye.